The tragic story of RMS Titanic. Hello, and welcome back. Today, we investigate a story that is more than just history. It has become a modern legend. A tale of human ambition and nature's terrifying power. This is the story of a ship that was called a floating palace, a wonder of the world, and, most famously, unsinkable. This is the story of the RMS Titanic. To understand the tragedy, we must first understand the ship. The Titanic wasn't just a vessel, it was a symbol of the Gilded Age, a testament to industrial power and opulence. Built in Belfast, Ireland, she was the largest man-made moving object on Earth. Over 3 years, thousands of men worked to construct this behemoth of steel and rivets. Inside, the Titanic was the height of luxury. The first-class accommodations were designed to rival the finest hotels in Europe, with grand staircases, swimming pools, and gourmet restaurants. But the ship was a microcosm of society. Below the lavish decks of the wealthy, hundreds of third-class passengers, mostly immigrants, were crowded into modest cabins, dreaming of a new life in America. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic set sail from Southampton, England, on her maiden voyage to New York City. The mood was one of excitement and celebration. On board were some of the wealthiest people in the world, including John Jacob Astor IV and Benjamin Guggenheim, alongside over 700 hopeful immigrants in steerage. At the helm was Captain Edward Smith, a respected veteran of the White Star Line. This was to be his final, glorious voyage before retirement. For 4 days, the journey was smooth and uneventful. Passengers marveled at the ship's speed and stability. The wireless operators relayed messages of calm seas and progress. But as the Titanic steamed into the icy waters of the North Atlantic, a danger was lurking. Throughout the day on April 14, the ship received multiple, increasingly urgent warnings of icebergs from other ships in the area. Crucially, many of these warnings were not passed on to the bridge. The wireless operators, employed by a separate company, were overwhelmed with sending private passenger messages. The night of April 14 was strangely calm and moonless. The sea was as flat as glass, which made it incredibly difficult to spot icebergs, as there were no waves breaking at their base. In the lookout's crow's nest, Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee scanned the dark horizon. Their binoculars were missing, locked away in a cabinet for which no one had the key. At 11:40 p.m., Fleet saw it. A dark mass, dead ahead. He rang the warning bell 3 times and telephoned the bridge, shouting the immortal words, "Iceberg, right ahead." First Officer Murdoch ordered the engines reversed and the ship to be turned hard to port. For a moment, it seemed they might avoid it. But it was too late. The ship didn't hit the iceberg head-on. Instead, it scraped along the side, a long fatal gash below the waterline. Many passengers barely felt the impact. Captain Smith and the ship's designer, Thomas Andrews, rushed to assess the damage. The truth was horrifying. The iceberg had breached 5 of the ship's 16 watertight compartments. Andrews knew the ship's design could only withstand 4 flooded compartments. He gave the captain the grim prognosis: the unsinkable Titanic would sink. He predicted it had, at most, 2 hours. At 12:15 a.m., Captain Smith ordered the wireless operators to send out a distress call, CQD, the standard signal, soon followed by the new signal, SOS. Tragically, the closest ship, the SS Californian, was only a few miles away, stopped for the night because of the ice. But its wireless operator had just gone off duty and did not hear the calls. The RMS Carpathia, nearly 60 miles away, heard the call and immediately turned, racing at full speed through the dangerous ice field. But it would take them 4 hours to arrive. As the crew prepared to evacuate, they faced a horrifying reality. The Titanic, though legally compliant, did not have enough lifeboats for everyone on board. There was only room for about half the people. At first, many passengers didn't believe the ship was sinking. The evacuation started slowly, with a sense of disbelief. Lifeboats were launched only partially full. The order was given for women and children first. But the protocol was applied differently on each side of the ship, leading to chaos and confusion. The class divide that defined the ship in life also defined it in death. First-class passengers had easy access to the boat deck, while many in third class were trapped below, behind locked gates. As chaos mounted, the ship's band, led by Wallace Hartley, famously assembled on deck and began to play. Their music provided a haunting, surreal soundtrack to the tragedy. By 2 a.m., the ship's bow was deep underwater, and the stern was rising high into the air. The final lifeboats were gone. The immense stress on the hull became too much. With a sound like tearing metal, the Titanic broke in two between the third and fourth funnels. The stern rose almost vertically into the air before beginning its final, dark plunge into the freezing Atlantic. At 2:20 a.m. on April 15, 1912, the RMS Titanic disappeared beneath the waves, leaving over 1,500 people struggling in the icy water. For the survivors in the lifeboats, the sound was unforgettable, the collective scream of hundreds of people freezing to death. A sound that slowly faded into an eerie silence. Around 4 a.m., the Carpathia arrived. Its crew was met with a devastating scene: a field of icebergs and a handful of lifeboats carrying the few, shivering survivors. In the end, only 706 people survived the disaster. More than 1,500 souls were lost. The unsinkable ship had become an underwater tomb. The news of the sinking sent shockwaves around the world. No one could believe that the pinnacle of modern technology had been defeated so easily. Public inquiries were held in both the United States and Britain. The investigations exposed a shocking series of failures. The inquiries blamed the ship's excessive speed, the ignored ice warnings, the shortage of lifeboats, and the failure of the SS Californian to respond. The tragedy of the Titanic led to sweeping changes in maritime safety regulations. The International Ice Patrol was formed, and ships were required to carry enough lifeboats for everyone on board. For 73 years, the Titanic's final resting place remained a mystery. Then, in 1985, a team led by Dr. Robert Ballard finally discovered the wreck, 2.5 miles beneath the ocean's surface. The images of the decaying wreck, the grand staircase now a ghostly ruin, brought the story back to life for a new generation. The story of the Titanic has been told and retold countless times, most famously in James Cameron's 1997 epic film, cementing its place in cultural memory. Why does this story continue to fascinate us? Because it is more than just a shipwreck. It is a story about the best and worst of human nature. It is a story of bravery, sacrifice, and love, but also one of arrogance, class prejudice, and tragic mistakes. The Titanic serves as a powerful, humbling lesson about the dangers of human hubris and our often fragile relationship with technology and nature. The ship wasn't truly unsinkable. That was a lie born of pride. A lie that cost more than 1,500 people their lives. It is a story that reminds us that even the greatest symbols of human power can be brought down in an instant. The great ship rests in eternal silence, a memorial to the dreams it carried and the lives it took on its first and final voyage. Its story ensures that the people who sailed on the ship of dreams will never be forgotten. Thank you for joining us for this look into one of history's most iconic tragedies. If you found this story compelling, please subscribe for more deep dives into the past.